Hey babes! I'm Alexis.
And I'm Lanette.
And this is Getting the D. We made it. We're here. Can we believe it?
Finally.
After like 7 attempts.
No, we really tried so hard. we really tried so hard.
It's not easy doing this.
No, guys, we were like, yeah, we're just gonna like throw out a podcast.
Yeah, real quick. Cheers one more time. Look me nice. You know what this means.
Oh my god. So, you're the first person that ever told me this. If you don't look someone in the eyes when you cheers, apparently it's 7 years of bad sex.
That's right.
And Alexis is the first person to ever tell me that, like, very recently. And now, if someone doesn't look me in the eyes when they cheers me, I'm like, you must fucking hate me.
Yeah. You must not want to have great sex. We'll get to that later. But
yeah,
we're here. We did it. I can't believe it. Look at us. Divorce babes.
Look at us.
Look at us. How long have I known you? How long have we been friends? Let's talk about that.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
I would say.
We met at Lakshmi
Hair Studio.
We met as baby assistants.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh my god, you were an assistant too?
Yeah, we were both assistants.
Oh my god, that's right.
I've been there 10 years. So like,
that's wild. Yeah, that's really crazy.
Yeah, so Lynette was like, peace out. I'm doing makeup.
Yeah, so I left to do makeup. Yeah. And then I left makeup to become a nurse.
Yeah.
And now I would like to leave nursing to do makeup.
We kind of lost touch when she went into the nursing world, and I was, you know, we were always just like light friends. Like I would see her on social media and stuff. But
we've always been girls though.
Yeah, like no matter what, you just pick up where you left off. But like say it was back in December, I received a text, and she was just like, "Hey girl, sorry this is so out of the blue, but you're the only person I know who's done this, and I need a file for divorce."
How do I get a divorce?
Divorce babes.
Hi, I need a divorce.
Can you help? And honestly,
send me the paperwork. I need a divorce.
How do I do it?
Yeah.
How does this work?
No, literally though, like there's no resource. You know what to do.
Where's the 101?
No,
and
for real.
Honestly, up until then, I was like getting all these.
I need a TikTok that's like, babe, here's the paperwork. This is what I did.
This is how this works.
Right.
I mean, I did this about 2 years ago now, so I've had women come to me and be like, "Hey, girl, I feel this way," or "I'm thinking about this," and like, "How do I do this?" And to hear from Lanette was just like, whoa. And I was so like, okay, let's dive into this. And I feel like this is how this came to be.
Well, yeah, because also I think like from outside, like my marriage looked literally like perfect.
Yeah.
So I think
Don't we all?
Was, well, I mean, yeah, I guess like everybody's does. Well,
especially in your early 30s. That's why we were talking like there's not many people to turn to at this age. And it's hard to like navigate that at that age because all of our friends are getting married, having all the babies, which love having that kids. For them. That's incredible.
God bless, not for me, but good for you. Loving that for you and not for me.
Love, live, laugh, love. We love our friends and we love our family, but it's hard to find people who can relate in that sense. And you know, it's easy for especially family to be like, what? Are you going to regret that? Like, so to talk to somebody who's been through it and has done it already is like huge. So,
I needed you.
That's so nice.
No, I really did. I remember like being at work, like when I was in between making the decisions, we were still trying to kind of like work things out. Like we were in therapy and whatever. And I was like, dude, I don't know what to do. Like this is the limbo stage is honestly, I think the worst.
The worst. And you're in it. Like, you are in it right now. And
well, I'm not divorced yet.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very deeply in it. But prior to having made a decision, like I remember sitting at work and texting you and you just being like, listen to the little voice, like whatever that little voice is telling you, like that's your decision. And that's when I was like, oh fuck, she's getting a divorce.
She's getting a divorce, vibes. That was definitely like a big spiral moment I can recall. I mean, we all have that moment where we're just like, am I actually going to do this? Like, this is
oh insane. My God, yeah. When I realized, like, oh my God, I'm getting a divorce. I am 32 years old.
Right, like, I'm a child.
But I was a child bride.
No, well, that's we'll dive into that. We were, if you think about it, when you're in your 20s getting married, you're a child bride.
I was literally 23 years old.
Your frontal lobe is not developed yet.
No.
Like,
she was not there.
You should not be making life decisions at that time.
No.
And most people do. And it's kind of crazy. Like, they either get engaged or they think they know what they want, right? It's insane.
I mean, but, like, at the time, like, it felt right.
No, it felt right at the time. But we can dive into that at some point where we're like, who were we then and who are we now? And, like, looking back at that, literally, like, a girl made that decision at that time. Like, I don't feel like that girl anymore.
Like, if a 23-year-old came to me now and was like, I'm getting married, I'd be like, oh... Hold on now.
Better not.
Hold on now.
Let's not.
Let's marinate on that.
Let's
you
take
don't
a
have
minute.
to do anything.
Take a beat. Let's take a beat.
Take a beat.
Let's take a beat.
Let's take a beat,
Let's take a little beat. Let's have a little combo.
Yeah.
This is something that people don't talk about, especially at our age.
Right.
Like,
because you, like, shouldn't be getting divorced.
Quote unquote.
Like, shouldn't be getting divorced
according
at
to society.
30.
Yeah. You should
How old
be.
are you?
31.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. So we're, like, at these prime ages where we should be getting married and should be having kids and should be.
Like, developing a family.
Right. But really,
whatever.
it's just, like, holy shit. Like, I feel like I'm just getting to know myself right now.
Right.
Alone.
Right. Because we did our 20s, like...
in a full-blown adult relationship that we thought we were adults in. And I really, looking back, I didn't feel like one myself looking back. Now I feel like I'm really, like, who I am at the moment.
Yeah. I'm still in such a weird place, I think.
Yeah, no, we're in totally different wavelengths of this process.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it beautiful.
You come from more of a healed place, I think, and I come from, like, bitch, I'm in the trenches.
Oh, I remember that time.
I'm in the trenches.
I
am, like...
awful.
Okay. This occurred roughly December 8th.
Basically,
yeah, I'm, like, 4 months in. So I'm in the trenches. So
we're in the trenches.
If you two are in the trenches, I'm with you.
Thick of it. It's... I mean, it could be worse, but it's still hard. And, you know, it's a huge part of our lives that we had to grieve. And, I mean, Lanette is currently grieving. Yeah. And it's like, you're going to go through that with us this whole time. And that's going to be, in so many ways, so helpful for so many people and yourself. Like, this is going to be therapy in general.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so when all this happened, I'm like, oh my God, like, who am I supposed to go to? Like, what am I supposed to do? Which kind of, like, leads us into the next thing, which is, like, why do we even want to do this? Like, why do we want to talk to people about something that is so personal? And that, honestly, a lot of people, like, I feel like a lot of women, like, hide this.
There's so much shame about it, because it's like, oh, like, I shouldn't be doing this. Why?
Like, people look at it as, like, a failure.
It's a failure. There's such a stigma of being divorced, especially this young. It's like, what? Like, we all expect it in our midlife. I guess you hear people getting divorced and it's not a shock. But when you hear someone in their early 30s getting divorced, it's like, well, why? What happened?
I feel like...
Yeah, something had to happen. Yeah,
something happened. And, like, it, like, always seems like something had to have happened.
Yeah, like, there's just this huge thing. And, like, I mean, we have... completely different stories as to why our divorce happened.
Something did happen
to Lanette.
To me. I mean, but something happened to you too, which is that you just changed and, like, grew.
Yeah, it's just, like, not for me anymore. But this is why we wanted to start this podcast, because it's like, there are no people talking about that. Like, there's no one like, oh, it's okay. It's okay if you want to actually get divorced at this age. Yeah. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, we are, honestly, 30, flirty, and thriving. This is the time of our lives. And I mean, I can say, because I've been out of it for 2 years now, that, like, I feel so grounded in myself now. And I just, like,
I was just going to
literally love every bit of this time. And if you think about it, like, most of us as women, we're just, like, taught to, like, find your person and, like, lock in, and you're fucking 25.
That's going to be success. And like, success is going to be you're finding your spouse.
That's your whole
Hopefully
self.
He's rich.
The second one will be. But, no.
My first husband.
My first husband. Yeah. No, they're like, you need to do this, X, Y, and Z. And we're like, well, we're just choosing to do the opposite.
Even though I am, like, very much going through it, like, I still, like, the moment that I made the decision to go, like, I have never felt more myself. Even though, like, I am anxious and things stress me out and I spiral and whatever, things can be sad. Like, I've never felt so Lanette. Like, to make decisions, like, all by myself, all for myself. And that is, like, not to say that, like, things were awful and that, you know, he was making decisions for me. It's just that every decision that you make in a marriage is about you and another person.
Yep.
And I never really made decisions just for me. So, like, I just feel so...
It's freeing.
Myself.
It's so freeing.
It's... Like, I didn't even know this, like, could exist.
Right, it makes you question
Not
a
to
lot.
convince anybody into it, but damn.
Like, to just be like, oh, I'm gonna go for a walk today, and not have to be like, do you want to come? Or like,
do you want to go? What time?
What are we eating? Like, no, I just eat whatever the fuck I want to eat.
Yeah, what do you want for dinner this week?
It's just like, what do I want?
What are we doing Saturday? What time am I gonna be home? What time are you gonna be home?
Yeah, I remember the first things I did was like, all right, I want to make a list of things I've never done by myself.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna like take myself to lunch. I'm gonna take myself to dinner.
I took myself to dinner.
The movies by myself. Like all these things, and I was like,
do you like it? Do you like doing things alone?
I do. I love it.
Wait, do you like going to the bar alone?
I actually have never just like, I can't say never. I've been once or twice. I don't know. It's hard because you're like, do I look at my phone? Do I look people in the eye? Do I not? But like,
there's nothing to do except look at your phone.
You look
is what I'm gonna say.
Or you just like read a book, like one of those people.
Read a book? No, I'm so sorry. Okay, if you're reading a fucking book at a bar, I have so many things.
Bless your heart.
If you're reading a book at a bar, if you're walking down the street reading a book, show me a book that's that good fucking ever. I'm sorry, I've never liked a book that much in my life.
Well, to be honest, I feel like it's a nice conversation starter.
Yeah,
right.
See,
like you're like reading a book. Like,
they're lying. They're
at the
not
bar,
really reading
and like
that
some
book.
man walks up to you, and you're like, "What are you reading?" Like it's just like kind of a nice little.
No,
sometimes
it's
that
not
happens. I guess. I mean, I've never tried it, but I found a lot of like great solace in like going places alone, like just like traveling alone, going places alone. So like I'm
so excited to
challenge,
travel,
but God, that we'll get to that for sure. But like doing things alone in general, like go find a hobby that like tap into that like what did you like prior being with your person, right? Like
yes.
your ex, like what did you like? What was your like? What made you happy? What brought you joy? Like I remember asking myself like, what the hell did I do? Like
to be honest, I don't even fucking
before
know.
18. I know.
I don't know.
I know. I was like, I used to draw. I used to like
dance.
Literally. Like I used to do like all these like cutesy things, and then that just like dissipated. And I'm like, maybe I should take a dance class. Maybe I should like.
Because you like melt into the other person.
You do, and it's just like that's the name of the game, but it's okay. So what is getting the D? What are we doing this for? We just want to be a resource for women, right? Like that's our goal. Like we just want to have like this community.
Because I think like when you were going through it, and now that I'm going through it, like you need other women that have gone through it.
Yeah.
Because like God bless my family, my friends, whatever. Like.
Yeah.
And I love all of the advice that I've received, but like you just like you need someone that gets it. Like the other day I called you and I was like, yo, I saw him and he said like X, Y, and Z to me. And you were like, oh, I've experienced the exact same thing. And like I know that you're coming from a very similar place.
Absolutely.
And so it's just like very helpful to like hear that type of advice from someone that like totally gets where you're coming from. So we just want to be that for other women because it can feel really fucking lonely. Like so it's
isolating.
Especially
when all your friends are like at the height of it and you're like, oh well, I'm just gonna go do the opposite. Like I'm just gonna actually choose me and like be alone. And I know I could have this like white picket fence like life and do the damn thing.
It's hard though to like go to your girlfriends that are like
happy.
Oh, like I just had a baby, and you're like, "Hi, I'm filing for divorce today. I need like some support." Like it's just
a bunch of woolside vibes.
Yeah,
we're not here to just like bash our exes at all.
No,
like that is not the goal.
That is not the thing.
No, we are love and light through and through. Like again, you'll hear our stories, and we're not here to like call anyone out or like rehash old wounds. Like we're just here to start a conversation about the shame that is behind choosing what we chose and like destigmatizing divorce. And that's really what our goal is here. Like we just want to kind of take you through post what that's like. And I feel like
or like
more
current what that's like.
or current, like
like it's so nice to look at you and be like, it's gonna be okay.
like we're going to find the sun again. No, for sure. I just think it's nice to like know that that's in the horizon, and we're not here to put anyone down. We're here to just like help each other up and like
high road forever.
High road every day, and just it's gonna be all right.
And you don't have to go through stuff alone.
Period.
Queen.
Well, I guess we should dive in to the real tea, which is,
what the fuck happened?
What the fuck happened?
Yo, I remember when you first got divorced. At the time, we weren't that close because, like, I was in nursing school, I guess, and you were, like, working, whatever. And I just, like, heard through the grapevine of, like, hair and makeupery that you were getting a divorce. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, that was the tea, bitch. And, like, I couldn't just text you and be like, hey, we haven't talked in, like, 6 months. I know I did your glam, like, a while ago.
Lanette
but, like, whatever.
Literally
like,
did my City Hall wedding makeup.
I did.
Which not many people know I was married.
That even, like, existed,
Yeah, I was married in, like, 2018. So I
Yeah.
was married longer than when my wedding occurred.
Right. Which I think is a really important point because your wedding and the divorce seem very close. But really, you were like...
We were married, very much married. For a couple years.
You can cut that out.
What?
I was like, your wedding and your divorce are very close.
I mean, that's the tea, though.
But they look like it.
No, but
like,
that's what made people be like, what the fuck?
Uh-huh.
I mean, not to say, like, people as if I'm somebody. I'm really, like, I just feel
South
like...
Philly Queen. The Queen of South Philadelphia.
No, I just feel like where I'm from, it was very much like, wait, what?
No, yeah. I, like, heard
which I
and
totally
I was like, oh,
get, because that shit was gorgeous, and that was, like, the best event I've ever thrown in my life.
Was that, like, an $80,000 wedding?
It was probably more. I actually didn't write...
More?
I just didn't write the budget down, because, like, it was planned from 2018, right? So we were wanting a 2020 wedding.
It was a COVID wedding.
Yeah, we wanted 20, and then they were like, just kidding, you're getting delayed. Then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to fulfill another exciting thing and flip a house. So I started flipping a house while we were, like, planning a wedding.
So beautiful. Yeah.
Stunning house. Sorry. We get that later.
Sorry.
No.
It is really beautiful.
Literally, it's all good. We just, we live and let live, but...
No, yeah, bless
up. But yeah, the wedding actually occurred in 2021, and I was out in 2022. So that was definitely...
They, like, seemed close.
That was questionable, and, like, why? And people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So, I was like, the fuck is going on? Like, I wanted to know so bad, but I wasn't gonna, like, reach out and be like, yo, bitch, what's going on?
Yeah, well, timing works for a reason.
But then, like...
You started
things
seeing,
happen, and then I, like...
I'm traveling here, I'm traveling there, eat, pray, lovin'.
Exactly.
And you're like,
and
okay,
I was like, my girl is single.
She's
for sure.
single, like a Pringle.
But I was, like, dying to know, like, exactly what happened. As I'm sure so many people are.
Well,
So why don't you tell us, ma'am?
Okay. Well, I mean...
Yeah, you go first.
I think what's interesting about the parallels with Lanette and I is it's a very... I mean, this is going to sound dramatic, but I was, like, the villain in my story, and Lanette's kind of the victim.
Wait, these are not parallels, though. These are, like, opposite.
No, I know, but, like, there's a lot of parallels. That's true. But there's a lot of parallels, like, in our relationship. So, Lanette and I both met our exes really young. Like, I was 18.
Same. I was also 18.
And,
he was 10 years older.
Yeah, we both had, like, the significant age kind of gap between the two of us.
Yeah.
And we grew up in those relationships. Like, we were young. But however, I feel like I was, like, 20 going on 31, like, 100%. At the time.
Yeah.
Daddy issues on deck. Like, we'll get to that later.
That'll be a D later.
That'll be something that we touch on later.
Daddy issues as a whole.
Yeah.
He will have his time.
But yeah, I think in my scenario, I was the one to leave, and I guess I was the bad guy, and I was, like, the villain of the story, because all respect to my ex, like, he is a good person. He's always been a great guy. He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
We'll always have the most respect and love for him. But
he's a nice guy, yeah.
He's a really nice guy.
No, he really is. He's like a good guy.
He's sweet.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Exactly. I'm
joking.
I guess. But no, I just felt as though I was not in it anymore. We were just growing apart on so many different wavelengths. I can speak for that. I can say myself, like, I felt like we were not on the same page. I don't want to speak for him. But I didn't think we were at the same, trajectory of life. I got married and then had the wedding a couple years later. And then right after the wedding, it was like, okay, what's next? Like, babies are next. And then I remember thinking, like, I don't want a baby right now. Like, I didn't travel anywhere and do anything. Oh, God. And I feel like I was just, like, checking off the lists of things, like the checklist. The checklist of life. And I never actually sat down and was like, Lex, what do you want? What do you actually want? Like, I wasn't emotionally sound or aware enough of myself to be like, what do I want?
It's so easy to just be like, okay, we like go to school, get a job, get our job together, get a spouse.
It's like,
have whatever, our great wedding, honeymoon, get pregnant right away, have a family. But then it's like, hold on a second.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what, like, who am I? And like,
who am I?
Do I even want that?
Yeah. I remember we broke up, in my mid-20s. I was like 24, and I remember thinking, like, I just want to go live life and like be alone for a minute and date people, and I didn't know how to express that. I broke up with him and I couldn't like say it. I couldn't say like,
oh my God, no, that's like so painful.
Yeah, I was like, I just want to go like live my life in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to say it because he was such a great guy, and like,
but he's very like cool to like have like check the checklist.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's, like, happy to check the checklist.
Yeah, and he's like, whatever you wanted, like, I'm happy that you're happy.
Yeah.
And, like, his happiness was my happiness, and that's beautiful. But I think that's also a lot of pressure, and it was a lot of just, like...
It was so much pressure.
It was just, like, a lot of just, like...
It's hard to, like, be lived for. Which is, like...
Right, and you're like, who are you without me? And, like, and I'm not trying to say that in a way that feels like he doesn't have his own life. He has his own life. But it was just, like... In so many moments, I had to, like, kind of confront that. But at that age, I wasn't aware enough to be like, who are we individually without each other? Like, to actually sit there and be like, let's take a beat and, like, go on our own and, like, see who we are without each other. Like, we clung to each other so much at such a young age. And I remember breaking up with him and getting right back together. Because I remember my mom being like, he loves you so much. Like, he's a great guy. Like, why would you ever leave him? And I'm like, yeah totally. Like, what am I doing? And, like, talked about what had to be changed at that time, and then got back together, and next thing you know, we're engaged. We're buying a house. We're getting a dog. We're doing all the things. And, looking back, it's like, wow, was I just, like, on this, like, exciting, like, trail of, like, what's next?
Right.
And then the dust settled, and I was like, wait, why do I still feel the same way I did when I was 24?
Right. Well, I think, like, that, like... I live for you, whatever, that, like, codependency can, like, really mask itself as, like, really beautiful. Like, I live for this person. Yeah. We are nothing without each other. It's very, like, Romeo and Juliet, to be honest.
No, it's... And we love drama. We're Leo, so we love that.
The drama.
Just live for me.
But, like, you can't, though.
You can't. And I think eventually it shows, and you're like, wait... Who are you without me? And who am I without you? And, like...
Right, and when that shit kicks in, you're like, oh, hold up.
You're like, hold up, wait a minute. I feel like I'm getting a little sidetracked, but I had to bring up the mid-breakup, because I feel like that was a really... Like, I feel like I was having a spiritual awakening, but I didn't know I was having a spiritual awakening in that moment.
Well, because you're 24.
Right, and I didn't know that term until now, because obviously we've been through all the therapies, and we've been through all the things. Therapies. And, like, I think I was having that then, and I just didn't know that then, because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing, and, like...
Yeah.
I was just like, no, this is what everyone does at this age. Like, I need to just keep going, and, like... He's such a nice guy.
Like, I should be so lucky.
He'll never leave me, like my dad did. LOL. Yeah.
Daddy issues coming up in episode
like he'll
7.
he'll always be there.
Yeah.
And he'll always like just.
So you think? I'm just saying. So you think?
Show up. Well, yeah. In my case, he was like, what you want is what I want. And that was like,
I thought that too.
Well, that ultimately like led to me being like, I'm not attracted to that anymore. What do you want? Lead me as a man. Like, tell me what you want us to do as a couple. Like, I was very masculine for a long time in that relationship. And to be fair, I created that. Like, from jump, I was like, I'll find the houses. I'll make sure we buy a house. I'll make sure we make the house look this way. And I'll do the chores and I'll figure it out. And I had this like mini like Miss Independent vibe, especially growing with like a single mom. I feel like I was like, I got this. And my mom, you know, like he thought that made me happy. And at the time, maybe it did. Maybe it fulfilled a need that like I needed. But then it started to get like more like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, he's used to this life now, which I know if I said like, you need to change this, like, let's change it, he probably would. But we got such in this like complacent kind of lifestyle of the two of us. We just kind of had this like separate life and like roommate style, and we were like accepting that. And I know the relationships like take time, and sometimes like you do get off on a like kind of, oh well, we're just friends, or we're just like hanging out, and we lose the sexual side, we lose like intimacy. But it was like always that. Again, not to knock him, I think he's an attractive guy, he's a nice guy. I just feel like in that moment I outgrew it. Like, the girl I was when I first got with him is no longer the woman I am now. And that woman is no longer compatible with the guy that he is. And it's so hard to explain it to somebody, because he was like, well, what do you mean? Like, am I a piece of shit?
Right.
Like,
no, you're like, no,
you're not.
This is just like not.
It's just not it anymore. And it's like, I don't know how to explain that without making you feel terrible. And I don't want you to make you feel terrible, because you're
great.
You're great. You're the best.
It's not great for me.
It's just now in my life now, it's just not serving me. And I need to listen to that inner voice and be like, I gotta go. And it sucked. Like, it sucked because,
oh my God, to like put yourself through that is like, that's a whole different like set of balls. Because like mine was, I was kind of like, all right, well, I'm just not gonna fuck with that. That doesn't work for me. But like, for you to just be like, to choose yourself so hard
with a guy that like most people will be like, oh, he's great, he'll just give me everything I want, need, and like he'll like anything I need. Like, I just knew it wasn't anymore. And it was hard to like make that call, because you knew someone for so long, and that's like my whole 20s. Like, grieving that was awful. And like, you know, people don't see that side, because I'm like traveling, I'm living, and like people are like, oh my God, you're thriving. I'm like, oh my God. I'm also like crying my eyes out.
That's the thing.
It's like crying on my new apartment by myself. Like,
literally,
people don't see that. Like,
people are like, oh my God, you look like you're doing so amazing. Somebody texted me the other day and was like, well, what's even stressing you out? And I wanted to be like, are you fucking kidding me? Everything is stressful.
Yes. But like, I feel
like everything, bitch.
Everything.
You just like you just flipped your life upside down. For yourself, though.
Literally flipped my life. Like, I blew up my life.
Yeah.
And it could have been a fine life. It could have been a fine life.
It could have been.
You know, I could have had a couple babies and just been like,
good. All set.
Just chilling. But like, it just, there was just something like screaming inside me. I was like, I got it. I just gotta go. And it sucks, because I hurt somebody in the process. But I feel like if I would have stayed, it would have did a worse disservice to both of us. And also accountability, right? Like, there's just so much in that where I'm like we gotta look at each other. Like, you gotta look at yourself. Like, why do you think I am not happy or like that? So it's okay. And it's okay to be like, I mean, now I feel like finally, I would say like maybe 6 months ago, I finally was like, okay, I'm at peace now. Like, I feel like we're in a good place. And
6 months. Oh my God, I have a long way to go.
I mean, I would say it took at least a year and a half to 2 years for me to be like, oh, I feel at peace again. But I think it was harder to be the guy who was like the bad guy, quote unquote.
Yeah, you had like a lot of like things you had to accept.
Like flack of people, of like, you know. And then also, you know, relationships with family and friends that we had together, and that was hard enough. So.
People just being like, why,
or like, fuck you, and like, I'm not gonna look at you or talk to you or block you on Instagram or whatever the fuck it might be. Like, It sucked, but like,
yo, you had to like stand in yourself so hard.
Yeah,
for that.
And even like,
where like I have like cheerleaders, but like yours, you had to like really like stand your fucking ground.
Even like being a hairstylist, like every single day going into work and being like, oh, so I'm actually getting divorced. And I'm like saying that like 7 times a day and just like storytelling that 7 times a day and like crying on people's foils and just being like going through it with like my clients. No, it's actually hilarious to look back on, but like that helped me so much. Like people, like you don't realize how much my clients actually got me through that. I mean, aside from my therapist
people
and Heather.
Really come out. Heather,
we'll talk about Heather later. But
no, people like, I have never felt so supported in my life.
No, truly. Like, people are like, you're brave, girl. Like, do it. Like, I mean, I know so many people who stay in things that are so stagnant and just like they're settling, and good for you. I think that's incredible. That's basically the best way I can probably tell what happened. And the scandal. I mean, you know, a lot of people made things up.
It's like not a big Lex. I have to tell you something.
What do you have to tell? I'm so scared.
I heard.
What did you hear?
I've never told her this before.
What?
I heard somebody said that you cheated.
I mean, that's like...
She doesn't even care.
No, but like that's like typical. People need a reason.
No, it's so fucking annoying though.
People
because
need a
like the person that told me that, I was like, I'll kill your family.
You're like, I
was like, no, bitch.
I just feel like everyone needs a reason as to why something ends this young.
I know.
I was a lesbian.
I want you to know that I defended you to my soul, but
I love you.
Like, no, like there doesn't need to. The reason can be that it doesn't work.
You're just not happy anymore. Like that's okay.
Why can't that be it?
And that's okay. Like I think literally like.
And are you happy now?
I'm the happiest I've ever been.
See, okay.
I just feel like
fuck everybody.
I know. I was so many things. I was a cheater. I was a lesbian. I was getting abused. I don't know. There were so many. By him. Could you imagine? Like the sweetest angel.
So nice.
On this earth. Like you would never. No. There were so many like quote unquote rumors, and it's like ridiculous. So I'm putting it to rest at the moment. From the horse's mouth.
It's rested.
It's rested. We were unhappy and we're moving on. And that is honestly the last time I want to talk about it, because I'm not really like going to stress this as much on this. I want to move forward. And that's that. I mean, of course there'll be some accounts and stories maybe when we reach a certain D word, but like I'm not going to be like rehashing it constantly on this.
Right.
Yeah. It's Lanette's turn.
Oh my god. Okay. How will I tell this story without throwing someone under the bus is the question.
You can say the truth and be a general about the truth.
Will it be vague about the truth? Okay.
Tell me the truth.
So,
divorce vibes.
We met when I was 18, married when I was 23. He's 10 years older.
Yeah. Looking back, we're all just like, what?
I'm 32 now.
Period.
And I recently found out that he was having an affair. I know. I need alcohol for this. He went on a bachelor party, met a girl, hooked up with her, stayed in contact. We did try and do some therapy. We tried to therapy it out. But honestly, like, and I don't know if all women are like this, but, like, I think that you're like this. I know I'm like this. Some of my best friends are like this. Like, when I'm done, I'm fucking done.
Donezo.
Like, when I'm done, you couldn't pay me to change.
Now we're out.
Like, you couldn't have paid me to stay in that. Like, once I had been disrespected and realized that I was done with that, I was fucking done. And even, like, to this day, like, he can't understand how I just, like, close the door on that so quick, but it's just like, you fucked me. So we tried therapy, but I just couldn't.
You were locked out.
Yeah, I just can't.
You're done.
Like, I'm just not gonna be disrespected like that.
No. And it's like, again, people are like, oh, you can work on infidelity, you can do that, but like it's okay to be like, fuck, I'm not doing that actually. Like, we're not doing that. And I just, in my heart of hearts, like, I don't want to, and it's okay.
That was my thing, like, and it was so hard to say, but, like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, we literally did one therapy together, but we, like, talked a million times, and at a certain point, I was just like, yo, I don't fucking want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
And that's okay. The amount of people that said that, like, my family, everyone was like, why don't you guys try therapy? Like, you know, find where you're missing things. And I'm like, I don't want to, and I don't think that's going to, like, improve anything. I think it's just a matter of it being done.
No. Yeah.
Like, we're just done.
Yeah. The intuitive voice being like, I don't want to. Like, this is what I want. Like, I want to move forward alone.
Right.
Listen to that bitch.
Listen to it. Because, like, again, like, we're just told, like, this is what we should want, but then we don't actually ask ourselves, is this what we want? Like, with, like, marriage, right? At that time, you're like, yeah, maybe I do. And then, like, it either is my story or it's maybe Lanette's story where it's like, I was cheated on or I just wasn't into it. I wasn't there anymore. I wasn't in it anymore. And it's like, I think the whole goal of this is, like, we're not here to be, like, the divorced wives club. Like, we're not trying to be, like, this, like...
into it. Like,
we're not trying to talk anyone... We're not trying to, like, be anti-marriage either. Like, let's just say that. Because I know... Or anti-man. Like, I think we're going to get maybe some people who are like, oh, marriage is sacred and, like, you need to work on it. And, like, 100%, like, we agree with that. But... It's okay to say no.
I don't think that marriage is sacred, and I also don't think that it's, like, unbreakable. And I also think that love is not unconditional. Hot take.
Hot take. I mean, it's an expensive breakup. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And I think once we look at it that way, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And I mean, we're speaking from women who, we don't have children, so it definitely makes things easier. It's harder when you have kids and you have to, like, you know, separate a lot more than just a house or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But I think we want to, like, hit home that we're not here to be like, fuck marriage.
No.
Like, marriage is shitty. Like, I mean, I can speak for myself.
I would have stayed in that forever.
Right. And I still believe in it. Plan. Like, I'm not like, I think I will get married again at some point in my life. Slay. I mean, that's, like, a big statement, but I think I would, and it would be for me this time and, like, really what I want. But I don't want us to come off with these women that are, like, you know, haters of the marriage
We're not
club.
Man haters.
We're not man haters. We're not marriage haters.
I love men.
We really like men, and you'll figure that out on this pod.
We need
eventually.
them. But
do we? We want them.
We need them for some things only.
Only some things. But yeah, are so excited to take you through, like, our list of D words that deals with post-divorce era shit, you know? Like, we're just gonna go through it and bring you along the journey with some amazing guests and
oh my god,
stories, and just, like, try and have a nice open conversation and bring the girls together.
I feel like there's a lot of girls that are, like, not divorced that want to listen to this, though, too.
I think you're right. I think it's more normal than you actually think to think about it.
I think, like, marriage is so romanticized. Right?
I think we want to say get to know yourself before you actually commit to marriage. Because I think we commit to something so young. Just like we commit to, like, think about it. Like, you go to college, and that's a huge debt that we commit to from a young age that we're like, we didn't even think about it. And then you have all this debt. And then, like, there's just these major life things that society tells us we need to commit to at an age. That makes no sense.
No, it's like
I feel like I just am starting to get to know myself.
No,
like,
literally.
Who is Alexis right now? Like, I was just, like, living this, like, mini adult girly life that, like, I thought was expected of me, and, you know, to some degree it was, but I never sat and said, do you want this right now?
Right.
And I think if there's anyone who's at least in their early 20s or mid 20s that are listening to this, please ask yourself that. Like, are you fulfilled in that? Do you want that? Or, like, if someone is mistreating you or you have been, like, cheated on, like, why are you staying? Or why...
Which we'll also get into.
Yeah, like, what do you want in this life? And, like, you know, digging into, like, why we make the decisions we make, which we will definitely get into.
Oh, my God. I know, I've already been thinking about all that.
Yeah, the inner child stuff.
Oh my God.
Oof. But, you know, there'll be fun topics too.
Yeah.
We won't just be crying on this podcast. I'm sure we'll be crying at some point.
I added dildos to the list today, so.
We love a good D word, but dildos is definitely added to the list.
Save sex toys.
We love a sex toy.
It's coming up. Probably later, but.
Priority. I can't wait for the next one.
Why not?
Stay tuned for the upcoming D word.
Yeah, I guess, how do we end these? Hey Siri, how do we end a podcast?